Well guys, if you want to move from Dubai to Canada, then this particular video will be really helpful because we have put together 9 different pathways, possible options for you when it comes to moving to Canada. Now because I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, we breathe Canadian immigration all the time. Based upon what kind of general profiles are there in the Middle East, we have put together these particular 9 options for you. These might be available on the internet across YouTube and the written content in different formats, but we have taken the time to put them together in one single video for you to have a look, see your options and see if they suit you well. Guys, please be sure to watch the video till the end. My name is Sahil. Guys, welcome back once again. My name is Sahil. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and I practice in Ontario, Canada. My office is there. If you have to get in touch with me, my number is on the screen and the details are there in the description box. More than happy to connect with you. Before we proceed any further, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon because we talk a lot about Canadian immigration. And if you are an aspirant of moving to Canada, and this is the channel that you must be subscribed to all the time. So guys, we get tons of calls from the Middle East, Dubai, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, people from Saudi as well who want to move to Canada. Now, what I get most often is that people love those countries. They're very happy with their lives in the Middle East, but they're always looking for possible options of getting a permanent life in Canada in the Western world. What lures them the most is the possibility of getting a citizenship in Canada and the possibility of getting that passport. So yes, we understand your requirements and we have put together 9 different options which you can potentially use. Now all of these options may not be usable because everybody has a different profile, so all of the 9 options may not suit you well, but definitely you will have to do that assessment and eligibility by yourself or get some external help in order to see what suits you the best. But here are the possible solutions which I think will be applicable for you. Guys, first of all, if you try to understand Canadian immigration broadly, I can easily classify Canadian immigration in 2 particular streams. One is coming to Canada permanently, which is called a Canadian PR. Second is coming to Canada temporarily, which is a temporary resident visa. Could be study, work, visitor, and then converting your way towards a PR. Okay, so we will talk about both of these options today. Guys, broadly speaking, Canadian PR or a direct pathway to PR would involve the basic program, the first option, which is normally known as Express Entry. A lot of people understand it as Express Entry, or some may want to call it Federal Skilled Worker, Canadian Experience Class, Federal Skilled Trade, or the category draws as nowadays what people are calling that. So overall, Express Entry is one of the good pathways that people normally use. It's a staple pathway. It's an online application system which gives you certain points based on your age, education, language, work experience, all of those, your family composition, people in Canada. All of those things put together will give you certain Express Entry scores. You are then placed in a pool of candidates and IRCC, which is the Canadian Immigration Government, holds draws out of those particular pool candidates. If you get an invitation, you get to come to Canada. Now, people get certain scores based on their background, like I said, age, language, education. But there are, nowadays the PR cutoffs are really on the higher side. So it may not be that easy as it used to be to get a PR through the Express Entry unless you're working in a specific trade or you plan your pathway like learning French, everything. But first, Express Entry is always good. I always tell my clients to have an Express Entry profile because that also includes a second pathway, which is a PNP based invitation, and it does not require a job offer. It is normally done through the Express Entry itself, and along with that is a PNP that you get through the provincial website as well, like Saskatchewan, say Prince Edward Island, NFL, which is Newfoundland and Labrador, Manitoba, where you can try to apply for a PNP without a job offer. So that is your second pathway usually. Guys, third most suitable for a lot of people would be a PNP based on a job offer, or say a pilot program based on a job offer. Now, people all the time want to move towards Ontario, Alberta, British Columbia and the other provinces, which normally would require you to get a job offer from an employer based in that province. Or if you talk about the pilot programs like an Atlantic Immigration Program, the RNIP, BC Tech Pilot, Alberta Advantage Tech Pathway, all of these programs are also usually dependent upon a job offer. So that is the third pathway, like I said, PNP or a pilot program based on a job offer. Guys, overall, Express Entry I believe is a good program, because if not a lot of people, then still some people do get picked up, based on their luck, based on the speculative scores that they get. But I always tell people to follow this fourth pathway, which is learning French. After you have put in your profile in the the PNP programs and the Express Entry, you should continue to improve your Express Entry, your language testing results, which is an IELTS exam, or B, try to learn French, get a CLB 7, and that way you're able to add 50 points to your Express Entry profile, and you're also able to get yourself aligned to the French speaking stream of the category draws. That is also really good, which is the fourth pathway. Guys, after talking about these broadly applicable programs, there are also a couple of other programs like the humanitarians or the refugees or the family sponsorship, which is definitely applicable to only a few type of candidates, which I will not discuss in this video today. But yes, permanent residence programs would include those as well. From here onwards, I think focusing your shift towards a temporary program like a study work would be a better suitability. Now, the first temporary program, which I think, or rather the fifth solution today, would include applying a study permit. Guys, I have personally dealt with people up to the age of 52, 53 as well, with successful study permits approved. But overall, I would say beyond the age of 30, study permit for Canada approval rates drop to approximately 25% or lower. Okay, so that's the blatant truth. Now, if you're somewhere between 25 and 30, you're looking at a 40 to 50% chance of approval. If you are below 25, definitely a good chance of approval. But all in all, study permit, despite its low success rate or low approval rate, is definitely a good pathway to PR, because what's important is that once you study in Canada, you get an open work permit. Once you're on an open work permit, you get to work in Canada and you collect points for that Canadian experience. You also get an option to work for employers who can later sponsor you for PNP. So both of those things, or rather one of those two things, will be helpful in getting a PR later. So ultimately, study permit to PGWP, then towards job, employer, and then a PNP is a good option for you if you can utilize and spend that amount of time, money and efforts towards studying in Canada. If that doesn't suit you well, then I always recommend going for a job. More than often you would see people are required to get an LMIA. Now understand LMIA like a work sponsorship that is given by an employer. Once you get that sponsorship / an LMIA from an employer in Canada, you can use that LMIA to apply for a closed work permit. Okay, and then you can come to Canada, collect those years of experience, and get your pathway to PR sorted out. Pathway number 7 would be coming to Canada on a visitor visa and then trying to convert that visitor visa into either a work permit or a study permit. Now, converting a visitor visa into a work permit or a study permit definitely comes with its own, minor complications here and there. They are not impossible, definitely doable, but definitely requires you to understand the program first. How to convert a visitor into a work permit or a study permit is not as simple as you think it is, but still doable. People do it all the time. A lot of people from the Middle East generally gain work experience in either truck driving or hospitality. Two of these are the biggest used, biggest worked upon occupations in the Middle East. So definitely people use that with an LMIA, definitely doable. And cherry on the cake is that these job offers or LMIAs can later be utilized potentially for your PNPs and your job offers as well, right? So it's definitely a good idea. Now guys, these are the 7 broad options. Now talking about the 2 other options which are not suitable for everybody would include a business program, a business immigration program. Now again, a business immigration program can be subdivided in 2 categories like a C10, C11 work permit or an ICT work permit. where if you are running your own company in the Middle East, you would want to open up a subsidiary or probably get yourself a new company or buy an existing business. That is one of the solutions. Or a business immigration would be direct pathway to PR, like a business immigration based PNP program, an entrepreneur program. That is also doable, like a startup visa. That is also pretty much doable. Otherwise, what I normally say is that if you are an artist, so that's program number 9. If you are an artist or a sports person, you could use the self-employed program for PR. That is also pretty doable. Not for everybody. You have to establish your eligibility as well. But if by far you are an artist into, say, for example, even an online graphic designer, but self-employed, and you could be a sports person, coach, world famous artist, then you can utilize the self-employed program as well. Guys, all in all, I think Canada is still pretty much open, but I would not say it's as easy as it used to be 5 years ago. But definitely, there are a lot of programs like I just named. Getting into those programs requires you to first establish your eligibility and understand these programs really well, so that before you take any step, you know what are the caveats and where you should be prepared, right? So if you want to discuss your programs with us, I am coming to Dubai very soon. You can meet me in person and we can discuss your eligibility, or you might use our over the phone consultations, or in person, or say virtual consultations, if you want to discuss your pathway to PR. And guys, wish you all the best, and I really hope to see you soon in Canada. All the best.